What's up? How you doing? It's Jared. It's a Spyderco karahawk. And this is a sick-ass little knife. Mean-ass little knife, right? I've actually got a video up on this one already, so I'm not going to do too heavily of a review, but I've been carrying this thing around the last couple days, and I think it just merits another video, because this is a badass little knife. It's very sleek. It's very slim. It fits into my pocket extremely well, because it's snug so far up against the side. Just due to the actual overall shape of it, you know, where this actual pocket clip lies, there's not a whole lot. You can imagine it's sticking in my pocket like this, and so there's not a whole lot actually to off this side of the knife, and so it rides very close up in the seam of my pocket, and so I can still fish my hand around decently in my pocket. I mean, this still does snag on me and it hits me, but a lot of the other karambits that I've used, a lot of these other folding karambits, when you have them in this orientation so you can actually pull them out and use that Emerson wave in your pocket, they just get in the way. They're not nearly as comfortable as this knife. And I was just tripping on this today. I said this in my other video, but this knife has a sub 3 inch blade length, right? It's got it's like 1.9 inch cutting edge, something like that. Maybe less. It's like 1.75 inch cutting edge, something like that. This is an aggressive ass knife because you can imagine the amount of damage that you're able to do with this. If you're holding this in the correct orientation, it really does just bury itself into your wrist, into that section right there, into that just the meat of your hand. And that's a straight line because you notice that the blade is straight with this here. So you can imagine where that actual blade is coming out, but that's a straight line with my actual wrist. So when I hit something with this, when I come into any sort of contact with this sort of strike, with that sort of, you know, pushing motion or slashing motion, all of that pressure and all of that force from the knife itself is being directly taken up into my arm because that's a straight line. If I'm holding it in actually, if I'm not holding it like this, I'm actually holding it in the correct orientation. All of that pressure is going directly down my wrist and into my forearm. So that's just an extremely sturdy way to hit something with a blade. And as well, that recurve there just is the optimal thing for defense, you know, defensive or, you know, offensive, whatever kind of situation, you know, you're talking about with this just cutting people, right? That's optimized because you can see a lot of other 3-inch blades. This is what actually had me going on it. I was carrying the Benchmade proper today. It's a 319 proper. Whatever I just did with it. Right? This has got a 3-inch blade length. And the amount of aggressiveness, just how aggressive this knife is over that 319 is freaking amazing when you're considering the same thing as blade length. Because a lot of consideration goes into blade length. There's so many stipulations as far as laws and legality and just what people think about a knife. It has a lot to do with blade length. But if you throw this thing up against a lot of other knives, if I can actually open it, it's a 707 sequel right there. If I actually throw this up against a whole bunch of other knives, it's a Benchmade Mini Griptilian, Spyderco Urban, right? They're all just sub 3-inch blades, but this is the most aggressive knife. Definitely, you can't argue that out of the three. It's not going to be the most efficient. You know, there's going to be some people that are obviously better with the other style of knife. People are going to be more suited to, you know, whatever they're best trained with. But I still think that for the legality purpose, if you're limited to a sub 3-inch locking knife for concealed carry, something like that, there isn't a whole lot better than this Spyderco karahawk right here because it's an excellent EDC knife. It carries very easily. It's so quick. It's so fast to deploy. It is decently, I mean, it's decently priced for what you're getting. It's a VG10 steel blade. You're going to be paying about $180 for this thing new. So, I mean, it's not a cheap knife. It is expensive. But you're getting a whole lot for the money. You're getting a whole lot of fit and finish and actual work that goes into the production of this knife. So I do think it's definitely worth that price point. And there isn't a whole lot of other options out there with this same capability that fit into legal carry. Because I can legally carry this thing around. Most of the knives that I carry around aren't actually legal. I've got a Chris Benz in my pocket right now. It's a 3.6-inch blade length, and that's technically illegal to carry in Alameda County, Oakland, where I'm at, right? This isn't illegal to carry. But who's going to argue here which one is more aggressive? It's not necessarily which one's a better weapon, because again, that goes back to who's actually wielding it. But which one's more aggressive of a knife design? Which one just has more of that ooh, ah, cool factor behind it? You really can't argue that it's this Karambit right here. Maybe not the cool factor. That depends on what you're thinking of as cool, because that Chris Benz may take the cake on that. But for a lot of people, this Spyderco Karahawk right here. Oh, sick ass knife. While I'm talking about knives, you made it to the end of this video. Has nothing to do with that Spyderco Karahawk. This is a bench or a Boker Field Marshal, right? Todd Begg Field Marshal. It's disassembled for some strange reason. I can't actually remember even why it was disassembled. I was just cleaning it out. It's marked every single part. 129, 129, all the way down to the back spacer. The back spacer is marked 129, 129, everything. Every scale, even everything is marked out at 129 except for the hardware on that. It's freaking amazing that they did that. I bumped up my respect for the design of that Boker Field Marshal right there. If they still manufacture them, they were cheap. It's kind of a ridiculous knife, but it's pretty awesome in itself. That's it. Y'all have a good one.